The confinements of the space create a really interesting playground from the beginning. Those feelings of claustrophobia, of the sonically engaging concept to play with the knocking against of the limbs and struggling, almost like a caterpillar ready to break out of the cocoon. And I think that moment of connecting to the other, which instantly changed the soundscape into something of peace, something of a connection to greater humanity and society, made for a really interesting exploration. And I loved this journey that we got to go on of exploring one another and exploring who they were and how they moved in these new open spaces without these confinements. So I thought the soundtrack was excellent in also capturing this as well. Quite beautiful.
I think it does a great job of portraying this idea of being bound to each other, to our environment, to being boxed in mentally, physically, all of the above. I think that idea of being boxed in was really clear and covered these larger, more untangible concepts of like being bound and boxed in by ideals. I think the movement was really great and really it showed like a want for growth and a need for growth while still like there was like this sense of holding back still and this tension by the dancer that I think also really pushed this idea of being bound or confined and trying to break away from that. I think it was a really, really nice piece that really really showcased this ideal and did it in a really well thought and smooth way.
Bounded by space, claustrophobic, stuck in these bright boxes within a tiny space, they yet still find a hold to find a connection that exists between them, as if no one else shares the room. They share a dance, remaining connected no matter the bars of wood that stand between them. They go back from this black space to these building bricks, to the frolicking in nature. They're happy here, falling to the ground to gaze at the sky and watch the ocean views. They're grounded to life, floating on water, dancing, bounded by this sort of love where it takes up the screen. And as we backtrack to find ourselves in bed, which in a sense gives this breaking the fourth wall concept to me, as I also found myself in this moment watching what was in front of me be a similar fashion to the ending itself. So it was kind of nice to be finding myself present in my moment as well.
The director of photography did a wonderful job in making sure that you could see everything. Even though it was dark, you could still see everything. Very clever use of light, putting the light on the sides of the boxes so you could still see your dancers. I thought that was amazing. The way that they moved together, the connection that the two dancers had was palpable and gorgeous to absolutely watch. The camera angles too were fantastic. It made you feel like you were there. It gave it another layer when some of it was a little bit close up, and kind of how they would change scenery with a smash cut. I think that was incredibly smart.
The performers were just wonderful, absolutely amazing, beautiful dancers, just expressive in their performance and just so skilled. And, I love the whole concept of them progressing towards, starting in bondage and progressing towards more and more degrees of freedom. And then seeing them out in the middle of the water on that raft at the end, what an amazing shot. What a wonderful accomplishment. But yeah, their dancing was so beautiful. They were so together, so in sync, so, alive, and they were absolutely wonderful. The choreography was really terrific. This is very well directed, very well shot and edited. Love the pacing, love the scenery, love the look, love the coloring, and yeah, the song, the music was beautiful, really well performed and produced itself too.
I thought the storytelling was really strong in this movie, particularly in its use of locations. It uses the locations in a sort of progressive buildup that tells a story. Each new location is filled with more life and more happiness and hope. The places get nicer and nicer as the story goes along. I just thought it was a really creative way and engaging way of to tell the story of two people falling in love.
The metaphors in this film about being bound are actually amazing, where they start out with bound in a box and then become bound to each other. It kind of shows the metaphor that in life we're always bound to something or someone. We're either bound to our own interior boxes, and it only takes reaching out to get out of them, but then you can become bound to another person, bound to the world itself. And that's kind of what this film's metaphors imply is, in a way, we're all bound to something or someone, and there's no way out of it. You just have to learn to live and let live and have fun with it.